Hey everyone, and thanks for watching. So you've noticed that we've changed the Microsoft licensing update to a text-based model rather than doing a video every month. We do want to highlight one topic every month, and this topic it's a big one. It's the hottest thing out there right now. It's AI. And we've seen in the product terms that AI has been taking over the Azure part of the product terms as well with Azure OpenAI Services. And for good reason, because as we all know, Microsoft has taken a large stake in OpenAI. And out of that rolled the Azure OpenAI service. Well, not really, because the Azure OpenAI service has been out since November 2021, as far as I've been told. So they've extended their partnership over the years. They've acquired a very large stake in the company. You can read more about it on this website. Let me pull that up a little bit bigger right now. So on this webpage, you can learn more about Microsoft and OpenAI and their partnership. So do suggest you read it and you check out what they're doing. It's quite impressive. It's not so about licensing, more about understanding these videos. So I want to dive into what Azure OpenAI is, what do customers use it for, and Microsoft itself is actually a customer of the OpenAI service, so that's good to know. What is the difference between OpenAI and Azure OpenAI services, or how do they complement each other? I want to talk about how you get access, and then a little bit about licensing in regards to the Azure OpenAI services. So without further ado, let's get into it. So what is Azure OpenAI service? It's a new product offering on Azure. You can get started with Azure OpenAI the same way as any other Azure product, where you can create a resource, which you can read more about here, an instance or a service right in your Azure subscription. If you want to know more about Azure Resource Management on how to do this, Microsoft does link to it as well. There's very long pages, as you can see, about understanding how that works. Just thought I'd call that out. Like we said, Azure OpenAI services were already announced and debuted in November 21 to actually enable customers to tap into the power of large-scale generative AI models with the enterprise promises that customers have come to expect of the Azure cloud computing service that they offer. It expands across large advanced AI models like GPT, like Codex, like DALI, and many more probably. Just trusted enterprise-grade capabilities and AI-optimized infrastructure that Microsoft knows or has connections to. You can use it to create cutting edge applications. The GPT service has been trained and runs inference on Azure AI infrastructure through the Azure OpenAI service. So they say it's generally available. It's generally available for most Microsoft customers that are already using Azure. If you're a new customer, it might differ. Love to know your experiences with it. Couldn't really find much more about it. It's not probably something that Microsoft wants to highlight very publicly. So that's it. So what do they use Azure OpenAI services for? Typically, there's a lot of use cases for this, apparently. Speed up activities, free up employee time by generating content, summarizing customer service tickets, etc. Improve end experience of their customers or the employees, streamline internal operations. More advanced cases like customer support, customization, gaining insights from data, or doing data classification. And Microsoft itself is actually using this as well. So in the product terms review that we did for this month, you can see that Microsoft released something called GitHub Copilot with their entire Copilot thing that's going on now. GitHub Copilot also uses the Azure OpenAI services. GitHub Copilot is basically a tool that you can use to suggest code. So if you're writing code, I'm not a coder. I used to be trained in it, but that's a long time ago. This was very helpful for me, I could imagine, because this just gives you some ideas on the code that you could potentially create. So Copilot will just, like you see here on the screen, will just tell you, well, is this what you wanted to write? And you can make changes to it, etc., etc. Apparently, they're also using Azure OpenAI Services in their Power BI products. And Microsoft recently announced Microsoft Designer, which helps creators build beautiful content with natural language prompts. Now, if you compare Azure OpenAI to OpenAI itself, then what's the difference here? It's very simple. Azure OpenAI Services is a part of OpenAI. So Microsoft has taken a share in OpenAI, and they're using the tools that OpenAI creates to further their Azure product stack. Through Azure OpenAI Services, you as an end customer of Microsoft and user of Azure get access to the advanced language and AI models that are present or that OpenAI has, like GPT, Codex, and DALL-E, with the same level of security and enterprise promise that Azure offers, apparently. It's co-developed. Azure co-develops APIs with OpenAI, ensuring compatibility and smooth transition from the one to the other. And they state that Azure is currently the only global public cloud that offers these AI-type supercomputers with massive scale-up and scale-out capabilities. It's a unique architecture design that combines leading GPU and networking solutions, and it delivers best-in-class performance and scale for the most compute-intensive AI training and inference workloads. You can read a little bit more about the Azure OpenAI services on their Learn documents page. So if you follow this link here at the top of the screen, you can find what Azure OpenAI service actually is. It's quite useful to find this content and to click through the other content as well and all its linked options, because you can learn a lot about this. They have a piece about responsible AI, how to get access, key concepts that they release through the Azure OpenAI service, etc., etc. So do check it out. If you're interested in this topic, you can learn a lot already from the Microsoft documentation. So how do you get access? Basically, access is currently limited as they navigate the high demand that Microsoft has. And they state that this is also due to the commitment to responsible AI that Microsoft has. So they're working with customers with an existing partnership with Microsoft, lower risk use cases, and those committed to incorporate new mitigations. Probably if you ask really nicely and you have a dialogue with your account team, you can probably get access to these tools. I suggest if this is of interest to you, you reach out and see what is possible. It gives customers a good option and a good entry into the OpenAI product stack. So if you are already a fan of GPT, you will probably want to use that in your day-to-day practices within your company. So I suggest you just reach out, see what happens. About licensing, basically, there's not a whole lot to say. Microsoft has added this to the product terms. They have stated that these are Azure services, so you would have to have access to an Azure environment, set up an Azure environment either through your EA, through MCA, through CSP, wherever you're currently hosting your Azure. And then you would be set to get started. Charges incur month over month, like you're used to from Microsoft. Make sure you understand the bare metal that's being used if you are trying to start a new product, all the other components that tie into it, because usually if you start an Azure service, it's not just that service. There's a whole package of other products that they need and require in order to maintain and run that service. So if you want to understand more about cost, I suggest you either use the Azure channel calculator that you can find online, or you reach out to a party like ours, like any independent or Microsoft partner in itself, and you ask them for help on quoting out your requirements and what that might potentially cost you. Yeah, that's probably something you definitely want to do before moving towards Microsoft with your ask and requirements. So with that, I want to leave you. I hope you found this interesting. It's a bit longer than I hoped this would be. I wanted to keep it short and sweet, but I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any comments, any feedback, do let us know through LinkedIn, YouTube, email. You know where to find me. If there's anything that you want us to talk about next time, do let me know. Always open for suggestions. With that, I want to wish you a very good rest of your day and hope to see you the next time.